Hello everyone and welcome to a terratech tutorial. Today we're gonna talk about aircrafts, hovercrafts and helicopters, basically anything that can get off the ground and can fly. Well, without any further ado, first we're gonna talk about aircraft, how to make them work and how to get them to work the easiest. First of all, my first word of advice, use either Better Future or Venture. You see here I have the Hawkeye batteries, but this is because these batteries are most efficient. That's why I'm using them. But other than that, you need to have your most of your weight near the thrusters, near the center of thrust, and you need to have your thrusters aligned with your center of wings. So my wings are in the center block and two thrusters up, two thrusters down. That makes it so the tech does not tilt two up or two down. Plus I'm using two of the gyros to help with this stabilization. Another note, if you guys have access to Better Future, and if you found the Better Future linear motion, you should use it. Because if you set some buttons for acceleration, you can basically have your flight to just be able to go around the place without you needing to hold shift all the time. So I'm gonna hold shift for the first one, and you see it works. It just works, just like that. We're gonna go to that one. We're gonna take a turn, move back to the other one, and we're gonna go back to our first place. But let's not land this time. Let's go ahead and activate the linear motion. With the page up, which is what I set up, I'm gonna put the thrust to 78% and I'm not gonna use shift. The shift is off. As you can see, I can set the power of each and every thruster to a certain percentage. And other than that, I can use pitch and yaw way easier because the thrusters are not fighting against me all the time. And with that, this easy we can just go here when we're gonna land. We don't need to just crash land, we can just slow our speed, and when we're close to the ground we just get it near to zero. The moment we hit the ground we put it down to zero. It can land and there's no problem other than that. That that's basically everything about the planes. The other one is just another type of plane that I made. This one was the first version and that one was made because I didn't had this much wings in the campaign I was playing. And with this thing, basically I can just go into the air. And this is the best part about this. I can turn in point. I don't need to use my pitch at all. I can just use E and Q just to get a extremely fast turn because, well, it's just how smooth this thing works. Again, with this thing, it's not visible, but under this cab is a linear motion. You can just set your uh, own thrust. And when you're using E or Q or any other button, the thrusters, if they need, they will get weaker or they will get stronger from the input you're giving them. That's my basic tip. Just use a linear motion. It's one of the best blocks you can use on your planes. Second, we have hovercraft. I do make my own hovercraft, but most of them are extremely small. And well, I used a hovercraft that one of my friends built. I think you guys might know him. His name is Stefan. We we are playing a co-op campaign, and this is something that he built, but I improved on it. He basically built the husk. It was hovering, but it was going all over the place. I get it I added some of the axes, I added some of the thrust, I removed some of them, and I made it like it is right now. Basically, what you need with the hovercraft, one of the most important things is the gyro. If you don't have the gyro, it's completely fine. The second thing you need to have balance in your hover pads. Your hover pads need to be the stronger ones that need to be on the heavier sides. If these are not in the right order, your tech will tilt around the place and will go out of control, even if you have gyro. You need to find the exact power you needed to keep your tech upright. And it's not a hard thing to do. I don't want it to sound like it's rocket science, because it's not. It just takes some work and some patience on your tech to figure out what goes where, basically. And with this, there's not much to it. There are a bunch of propellers to get us to our place. There's an anchor to hold us in place when we don't want to go anywhere. And if we don't have that anchor, we can just move around the place. Plus, we have some propellers you can see on the back and on the front. We have 2 propellers on each side. Wait, I I think I forgot some of the controls for this thing. Okay, up goes up, and yeah, just like. Other than that, there's not much to it. With the bigger builds, you can have, if your tech is stable on its own, you can have more of an stability feature on your tech, which it goes around the place way slower, but it's also way smoother. If you build something small, you can build it fast. You can make it smooth if you use your blocks carefully, but the bigger it is, the smoother it goes around the place. I'm not selling this, it's just how it is. And with that, we just go over this and we go back to where we started. Stop. Oh wait, I added this stuff because the propellers weren't doing enough. Well, you can just use them without these things. You can basically build anything you want with most of the factions, not all of the factions. Like the Venture does severely lack some of the major blocks needed for thrusters. They do have propellers, but no thrusters. If you want to make something with thrusters, you have to use another faction. Wait, no, Venture have one thruster, which is way too noisy for their own sake. Yeah, this thing. This is not good. This is not a good propeller. I use this on these aircrafts. This does not work that well. If you want this to work, you have to make a extremely small build. Okay, and with that, we go for a quadcopter, which is the simpler of the two. First things first, you need to have this thing under control. You need to have everything symmetrical. Each and every one of the blocks that you put in the front, there have to be one in the exact same position in the back. You have to mirror it on all 4 sides, basically. And with that, you can... oh, by the way, I forgot to say. Other than the things you have to keep in mind for the hovercrafts and the planes, you need to have the exact number of the force you need to get off the ground, the percentage of force needed to be put on the each and every propeller. You need to keep that in mind with every, and I do mean it, every single block that you add. This barely starts to go up with the 96%. If I add the 2 more blocks, it's not gonna stay 96%, it's gonna go up to 97, 98. And with that, the helicopters are basically... This is a quadcopter, not a helicopter. These things are some of the hardest thing you can make work in terratech. But there's no need to be discouraged because, well, they are hard. That is true. They're not impossible to control and to use. If I don't crash right now, I'm gonna go back into the ground. We're gonna go to our second destination. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure if the controls are the same. For me, WASD is just for changing the propellers that are on the top. You see these 4 and these 4. And arrow keys are to tilt the whole craft on it separately. So if you were unable to tilt the craft, you should probably use the arrow keys, or you should go to the options and see what control it is for you. The same, it's somewhat goes like the hovercraft. If you build something that's heavy, it's gonna be smoother to move. Smoother, not easier. As in, it's gonna be slower to move. But when you're moving it, it's gonna be somewhat stable. You're not gonna feel that much instability on it. Which is the case with this quadcopter and that helicopter. Let me just land this pretty slowly. And after I did, as you guys saw, I did not lower the thrust to a certain degree until I was reaching the ground. With the moment I was reaching the ground, I put it up to 100, so the impact doesn't do any damage, then put it down to 0. This is something that you need to keep in mind when you're controlling helicopters. And now, the last helicopter is here, and let's have a test flight with it. It's the same as that quadcopter, just you need to have some balance in weight from forward to back, and it might not be something that the game uses, but you guys need to use some weak, not strong, weak adjustment thrusters. These things are essential to your helicopters. Okay, if I remember correctly, this was around the 74 or 75. No, 85? 85. For it to be in place, and let's go to 90 to lift from the ground. Again, my lift is on page up and page down. You can just put your lift on anything. And why am I going that way? Oh, wait, I'm missing one of the blocks, that's why. 5-way adjustment thruster. Just put this here. This should make it more stable. How did I lose that? I'm not sure, to be honest. And I'm even surprised that it could easily get off the ground with missing one of the adjustment thrusters. This thing can tilt. I don't recommend it because if you're tilting, the main propeller is gonna turn itself off because, well, it's not working at full power. And with this, there's not much else to... I talked about everything when I was controlling that quadcopter, and there's really not much else to add into the helicopter. With helicopter, you have one strong blade. you have one strong blade, or rotor as what the game calls it. With this, you don't really want to make this thing too heavy or too complex. You want something that have a certain center of weight, and the moment you find that, you need, or if there isn't one, this thing what did not had a center of thrust, and this thing is extra. Wait, the moment I removed that, I was lifting off. Okay, I talked about this. I shouldn't act surprised on something that I covered on my own videos. This thing was not like this. The length of the tail, the blocks that I use on the tail, where should I put my shields, and every single block falls into place just so this thing doesn't slide somewhere on its own. Just so this thing has the one centerpiece for the propeller to be on top of, and it can lift the whole thing up. Plus, I did something else that I forgot to mention. If you guys don't want to just go with the help of the adjustment thrusters, you can add one or two the fuel tanks, and have some boosters, like I have on here. I forgot to use them, so let us go to the same points while using the boosters. Wait, why is this thing getting tilted? Am I missing some sort of block again? Yeah, this thing is missing something. It shouldn't tilt like that. I'm holding left click all the time for it to not tilt on to the right. Okay, and with that we just slowly lower the thrust power, and the moment we hit the ground, we just put it down to 0. Okay, there's something wrong with this, and well, while I was using it, it didn't have any problems, so I'm guessing it might be one or two of the blocks that they were there accidentally, but those accidents made the tech work the way it should work. So I guess I shouldn't have removed them. And before we end the video there, this is basically the end of the tutorial. If you guys want to click off, feel free to do so. I want to build something that works only on thrusters. Okay, this is gonna be a skinny guy, a skinny plane, or a skinny boy. Boy. Let's put that up there, or maybe one forward. We're gonna add something like this just because it's the same size. Move this one up, or let's add 2 of them on the both sides. Same top and bottom. The second one goes on the bottom side, and well, now I need to add some fuel. Add some fuel for this to work. Okay, this doesn't look like something that can go on a plane. Well, I'm gonna go back to Hawkeye. Fuel tank. This is also something that does not work. Okay, let's go back here. But this will. So let's use one here. One on over here. Okay. Attach where you should. Attach where you should. We're gonna go back to Venture. Add the wings from the Venture, but the thrusters are gonna be from... Wait, this is the left wing. So let's add it here. The right one over here is this. Yeah, these two are centered. Two wings on each side on the back, and one small wing to finish the whole thing off. And now for the thruster, I'm just going to use one jet engine. And it does look nice. For wheels, I'm gonna do something different. Let's just use these wheels. The shopping cart wheels is what I think of when I look at these. And let's see if we can actually fly with this or not. Okay, this is set to car. Let's go for an airplane. Apply and... oh, shift doesn't do anything. But control does. And it worked. It's pulling itself up quite heavily, but it works. And for quite some time for working, whoa, I didn't expect this to be working for this long. Okay, and with that, if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a like, maybe subscribe, and share it with your friends. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.